Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot. And really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe for the Believe Entertainment Network at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia live on X Spaces for the fan feedback segment of every postgame show. So today we're going to double dip, and it is crossover season. So we're going to talk about the I was going to try to pull this off without laughing, but it almost didn't work. We're going to talk about the 104-95 win in double overtime against the Youngstown State Penguins.
Hey, we scored 100.
And then we're going to go, it took 2 overtimes. Then we're going to go to talk about the Syracuse football moving to 7-3, and I think 4-3 in the ACC, getting over that hump, 33-25 win despite a late charge from Cal. And we'll get your thoughts on all of those. So I guess this is where we're going to go. I did ask for thoughts on the game, for the basketball game and the football game, but I'm punishing Facebook for their lack of participation, which is my excuse, but the real truth...
People aren't going to like that.
The real truth is I just forgot. And I honestly thought I did it for the basketball game, but later on in the night, when I was going... I went out to eat after the game, and I was thinking, damn, I don't think I posted on Facebook. So they were both accidents, coincidentally. Allegedly, both accidents. So... to all of you on Facebook, the normies over there, Dom. Sometimes we get our boy Zach, and of course Andy. My apologies. So, it won't happen again. I mean, Joe does have access to the Facebook account, so I mean, I don't have to do everything.
It's true. It's fair.
So anyway, normally that's a bang shot when I do the thoughts on the game, but I screwed it up, and I admit it. And the football game was kind of a whirlwind because people from Cal fans had gotten our thread for the final score predictions, which I never say anything until the game's over. So obviously I had to go back in there and talk some smack to those guys. So it was a little busy after the game. So anyways.
Right.
Okay. Basketball time. Let's hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys are going to have to hear that twice today. We're going to go to fan feedback over on Twitter. Like always, I leave the comment for thoughts on the game, and you leave your comment for the thoughts on the game. So, in regards to basketball, Joe, J.J. Starling put on a show, right? He hit some timely threes. He hit some very timely threes. And there was someone else who hit. It was Donnie Freeman. He hit a timely three, too.
Elijah Moore hit a timely three.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they all contributed there. Yeah, but those were the threes that were made. Thankfully, they were made at the end of the game. So 22% from
5 of 22, yeah.
Yeah, so that's at least 4 of them, because I think JJ had 2 at the end of the game, at least towards the end of regulation and then into the overtimes, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, like that first overtime, not for anything, they're up by 8, and this defense is like terrible, awful. I think it's bad. I think it's really bad. Really, Donnie Freeman, a very quiet double-double. I was very impressed. I was more impressed once I looked at the box score and realized it. But Eddie Lampkin stuck out to me yesterday, and I like him a lot. I really like him a lot. He's got high basketball IQ, and I feel like he stays out of foul trouble. He's awesome. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to take the good with the bad.
A little bit.
But 4-10 from the free throw line, and he tied with J.J. Starling with the most turnovers with 3. But I mean, the amount of time that the ball spent in the hands of Eddie Lampkin and J.J. I mean, I think it's
fair.
Yeah, reasonable, right? But 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists. Some of those passes, there's no look behind the back, just knowing where people are going to be. It's a great, obviously, talent trait to have, but also, to me, I look at it like it's kind of pointing in a good direction, especially, at least with our offensive side of the ball, is that it looks like they're starting to click, right? If you can make plays like that, then yeah, I mean, it means that these guys are starting to click a little bit. So I think we all know. I mean, we could have shot better. We could have scored more points. I mean, 5 of 22. I'm just glad that they didn't keep hucking them and they decided to go down low and shoot a lot more 2-pointers. They realized that they weren't hot from the 3. But we all know that the problem is the defense, right?
Yeah, problem is the defense. And, you can't rely on JJ to do everything all the time. Like, they're going to have to play more as a team. Bench contributions, I think, will come. I don't know if anybody should freak out about that. That's kind of – the bench is deep. I feel like it's normal. You get, 14 points off the bench total. I don't know. I just – at the end of the day, this team's nowhere – it's not even close to where it needs to be for ACC play. And we can be like, well, we got a lot of games for ACC play. Well, we all kind of know how that goes. So – Well, I'm in the show me stage of this. I just don't believe it. I don't think it's going to get fixed before ACC play. It's tough. Huh?
So we're really going to find out with our next game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, I guess the most important thing, regardless of what your competition is, the most important thing is that we are 3-0.
I get that.
We don't have a loss yet, right? But you're talking about, when is this next game? The 21st. So it's that Thursday. We're playing Texas, and then the very next day we play the winner or loser, depending on what we do, of St. Joseph's and Texas Tech. Cornell is after that, after Thanksgiving, and they're not a slouch. And then we play at Tennessee and then at Notre Dame. So with the next 5 games being that kind of slate, you're kind of looking at, what it's going to look like. How bad is it going to be, right? Because we got to win some of those games. That's for damn sure.
All right, let's head over to Twitter. Our buddy @David Super, Lampkin passing the rock in this game. Thumbs up. He's got the Bird Box gif with Sandra Bullock blindfolded, which is excellent. I love that. Let's see. @Salty Warrior. I thought Chris Bell was was the best shooter. I mean, J.J. Starling just coming on. I mean, really impressed. And it's not that he took a back seat or anything last year, but, feel like leaps and bounds. He just, he stepped into the leadership role like very well, very easily. Just a smooth transition there. So
yeah, they needed that, right? With obviously I thought Jaquan Carlos. He's still starting. I think he played pretty good in the exhibition games. I think he probably played his best real game yesterday. I don't think he really. Well, I mean, just against Lemoyne and oh God, what do I already forgot the team that they against Lemoyne in the first 2 games, he couldn't keep anybody Colgate in front of him. He couldn't keep any guards in front of him. I mean, at least yesterday, he had a steal. He showed that he could. I thought there was a couple fouls that were bad on him, but we don't need him to get picked on all year, right? So, got to figure something out.
@Baptized by Fire 7, if we don't get better defense from our guards, it's going to be a very long and disappointing season. But they don't give up and they play solid in high stress minutes late. Yeah, I mean, they shined in overtime. I mean, but with that said, you know, there was some guys with foul trouble. Jaquan Carlos, he had some, obviously he fouled out. So, I mean, everybody's kind of in the same boat, but they had 3 guys foul out. So two of them starters. So, and then that Dines, who was,
he never even really got involved in the game, right? And they were talking to him like he was
their guy.
Yeah. So, that's definitely, like, obviously it was concerning, right? We didn't shoot well from the field whatsoever. A lot of what we shot was around the basket, and I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing in one type of way, right? Is that, I mean, do you have to? If it got to the point that we had to actually do that, and JJ had to do that, and really just use physicality against a smaller team to win. But also, like, you don't know if it's just the smarts because, okay, just, you know, people we're not on from the outside, so let's continue to attack. So I hope it's the latter.
Yeah, your confidence seems to be a little bit higher than mine. You know, which is good because it kind of balances me out even a little bit. Maybe kind of, I don't know. We'll see. At the Cuse, I am, maybe it's Theo Cuse. It is. It's Theo Cuse. I've been saying the Cuse for I don't know how long. However long that he's... I always look at the handle. I just looked at the actual name. So it's Theo Cuse. Okay? My apologies. Putting disrespect on the name like Coach did and apologized during the presser. Mm-hmm. I'm going to dig into my alter ego who tends to be a little bit more positive. Well, that's good. When you win 3 straight close games, that's a good sign. Starling needs to run point the rest of the season. Freeman looked great. Lampkin has 360-degree camera vision. Dude was unconscious. Yeah. I mean, look, it's not for lack of athletes. You know what I mean? It's like You can have all the, like, how many of those Boeheim's Army teams were put together with all of that talent and they stunk? You know? I mean, you got to have more than just the athletes. They got to mesh well. There's got to be, you know, got to be a tight group, you know, like Coach Fran putting all those guys in the same building, living together. You know what I mean? It just builds that, you know, builds the team and really strives for the culture of what you want to do. And in the era of the transfer portal where there's just people in and out every year, like, it's extremely important to be able to mesh. And I just don't feel like this team's meshing. Now, I got the talent, so, you know, better shot selection, way better defense. It's going to come down to cohesiveness, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you as far as that goes. I think that's... But they could have had a better shot selection. But, I mean, being aggressive, taking it to the hole, getting teams in foul trouble. We haven't had an issue with rebounding this year, right? You know, you get a new group and it's going to be something brand new. But to me, I mean, you got to look at things that I'm least impressed with. And it's not just individuals, just as far as just the team overall, is obviously their defense and their free throw shooting. So, I mean, you clean that up and you win each of the first 3 games by probably 20 points. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, first and foremost, defense. Foul shooting has been a problem the past few years. And, you know, obviously, I don't expect Lampkin to get up there and drain all his free throws. Kind of like an Anawaku type, in my opinion. Like, that's what it reminds me of, right? Solid player on the floor. Just terrible from the line, and he was beating himself up yesterday, like literally. He was upset with himself. So, you know, he's gonna be that guy that hits that and one in the crowd at home, and the crowd just goes berserk. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just
he's going to go berserk every time, right? I mean, his energy is going to keep this team and the fans in it, right?
Well, yeah, and the fans know the struggle. You know. I mean, one of my favorites back in the day, Billy Seelick, boy, man. When he came out, boy, he was the fan favorite, bro, and like not much of a scorer, that guy. But when he did, man, they let him know. You know, that crowd let him know that they were proud of him. That's 2 points right there. They loved it. So, you know, That's practice. That's practice. So
Yeah.
At Nadal, Darwish, our guy. So many fun players to root for this year. So hey, it's almost like he was just listening. So let's do that instead of nagging them on early season shit. Progress, JJ with his best Judah impression. Lampkin moving better than last week. Did insane passing. More coming in clutch. Overall better D. Carlos sparked at the end. So, yeah, look, I'm kind of, he's talking to me. I feel like he's talking to me. I feel like Nadal's talking to me right now. I gotta see it. You know what's the worst is going into this negative, like I kind of am, like a cynic, and just thinking to myself, ACC play is going to suck because we're both in ACC country in our own respects, right? You're in the heart of it. I got the Virginia fans, you got the North Carolina fans. So it sucks. You know, there's a lot of shit talking, and you know, you don't want to be on the bad end of that all year. It's an agonizing thing.
Yeah, it is. Again, like I said, in so many ways, what happened at NC State last year, I feel like it just gives me hope. But obviously, that's not the route you're going to want to have to go every single year. And I think that Syracuse fans are they're frustrated, right? They're frustrated of not being able to make the tournament, even though we've had, you know, decent squads, just not tournament level teams. I think the one thing that I think people are worried about is that if you're a legit team, then you're supposed to be just taking care of these guys. We talked about the net ranking last year and how
the spread,
how much you beat a team or win a, you know, that matters, right? And right now we're already starting ourselves kind of behind the eight ball because, you know, if you just wanted to look at let's just say I know Texas is a good team and they're up there, right? But they have a loss to Ohio State. But other than that, they played Houston Christian, Chicago State, Mississippi Valley State, just teams just like we have. And they're winning 90-59, 105-58, 89-49. That's what legitimate basketball teams that are top 25 teams, that's how they're beating those teams. So I can understand the frustration when you see us come out, albeit a 3-0 start, but, you know, shaky against these teams.
Yeah, and it's a solid point. We kind of touched on it last game against Colgate. And after that win and only winning by, what was it, a couple? Four. So it was like one against Lemoyne, 4 against Colgate, and then
it was two against Lemoyne, 4 against Colgate, and then we went to overtime in Youngstown State.
Right. So to your point, because we touched on it before, it's the worse you whoop up on these teams, the better. And you know, we talked about having some creating more of you know, more competition for yourselves in the exhibition stuff. But we talked last year about padding this schedule, which it looks like they tried to do. I mean, let's be honest, right? So, I mean, Lemoyne, come on, like they should be blowing those teams. And if you're like, to your point, you're nailing exactly what I'm thinking. Is when you look at, if this team's good, they should be killing these teams. How many early non-conference games do you remember back in the day being like this? Through the first 3, like nail biters. Come on, that's. I
mean, not if you take away recent bias.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about, you know, like even up. 5 years ago, growing up, even 5 years ago though. You know, I mean, but yeah, growing up, or even more recent than that though. Even more recent than that, like this nail biters this early. No, that's not how this should be. We're better than that. The tradition's better than that. The culture and the nostalgia of it's better than that. At Oil Cuse, we need to play better defense, but I like this team. They're frustrating, but they're also fun to watch. Again, good thing they didn't lose this game, or I would have been pissed. Solid. Let's see. Let's go here. This one's got some meat on it. At Andrew Jano 24, you don't want to go to double OT versus Youngstown, but a win is a win. Defense still looks terrible, but the offense should at least be able to keep us competitive. Get the defense figured out, and we'll be fine. I mean, to some degree, that's true, but the percentages aren't great, and the live and die by the 3 thing, it looks like we're kind of in the same spot we were. And to someone's point, I forget who it was right now. I can look, but Chris Bell is kind of, 1 for 8 from 3-point land. Obviously, he's either on or off. He's kind of always been like that. But
I don't feel like he can be that this year.
I don't really either. So, by the way, that was Salty Warrior. But yeah, and that's kind of my point. I mean, JJ can't do it all. I mean, they're going to have to play like a team. They're going to have to play like a team. They're not always going to be able to get inside either, like that, and get people in foul trouble. Sometimes they're just going to get handled doing that. So, any final thoughts on this game, Joe? I'm excited to see what happens when we are dealing with some more competition, let's say.
Well, you're going to find it this week. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure when's November 21st?
It's Thursday. It's at 7 o'clock for Texas.
Okay, yeah. So you're talking about a game on Thursday and a game on Friday against teams. No matter who you play out of the other 3 teams, they're better than any of the 3 that we just played. So
right. So
we're going to know. We're going to know if we're getting better. Because again, I expect growing pains when you got like a brand new team and you're trying to figure everything out and you're figuring roles and all that stuff. But there's always got to be, you got to see consistent growth, right? And I'd like to see that I saw a little bit of growth, albeit, Youngstown State, I think, is a better team than that we played. I think that the 3 games in a row, I think that there was talent. I mean, I think that team that we played yesterday would definitely be able to give Colgate a run for their money, if not beat them. So I just hope that we can see consistent, growth and seeing that these kids are figuring out how to play with each other, mostly, obviously on defense, more on defense. It looks like they're a little bit better on offense, but also too, maybe they're just playing down to their competition. Maybe Red's playing some guys in the rotation he doesn't plan on playing still. You never know. So we'll definitely find out on Thursday, that's for sure.
Yeah,
7 o'clock on ESPN2.
Yep. What happens if we come out of this thing 0-2? Is that par for the course? Is anybody worried at that point? Are we just going to just say, okay, well, live and learn, move on to Cornell? I mean, where do you stand? I mean, you're not. I mean, let's be honest. A betting man wouldn't say they're coming out of this thing 2-0. It's a possibility for a 1-1, but I mean, right now, the way I see it, it's 0-2 coming out of this thing.
No, again, it's going to be a situation where it's a good litmus test, right? Because if we do beat Texas, if we do beat Texas,
yeah,
then that obviously is great for us. And all of a sudden, everyone's going to be pumped up, and then we're going to get another game against Texas Tech. So that'll be good for our strength of schedule. But to me personally, if I got to be honest with myself, I see a situation where Texas Tech beats St. Joe's and Texas beats us, and Texas Tech and Texas play, and then we play St. Joe's, and that's an A-10 team, which again would be a step up from Youngstown State, but obviously a step down from Texas Tech, and that'd be a good litmus test to see where exactly we are if we do, get blown out by Texas. If we do lose by Texas, as long as it's a close game and we're competitive, then it's going to make it'll leave, I'll be all right with it. I'm not expecting them to win. I just don't want them to get their butts kicked. If they're competitive against Texas and then they beat St. Joseph's, then I will be I'll be confident that we're growing and we're getting better and we do have a chance come ACC play.
Fair enough. All right. Let's move on to football. With that said and out of the way, we look forward to Tennessee, I suppose. I'm excited for that game because I want to see for myself where we stand. Where are we on the scale? And I'm in the show me state, like I said earlier. Not the show me state, but I'm in the state of show me. Okay, let's hear what Coach had to say following the win.
Congratulations, Fran, to you and your family that you'll be smelling fresh when you get home.
Yeah. Smell like 100 racks. It's like, no, I'm playing with you.
It felt like this was maybe your most complete effort of the year. Do you agree with that?
You said my most complete effort?
The teams.
Oh, I got you. I'm about to say I compete every day, man. Yeah, I felt like we played complimentary football. We found a kicker, as I told you guys a few weeks ago. Like, he kept competing, he did a good job. We found a good corner, the freshman corner, that went out and stuck one of the better receivers in the country. 13 to me is Zaire. He's just really good, and we was able to go put 25 on him, and him being able to stick him all day. And then just who Kyle is and what he does with the offense and how he spreads the football, and so Quentin, all those guys. So all sides of the ball, Fidel Diggs led those guys. Him and Marlowe did a really good job on the defensive side of the ball. So I felt like it was the first time that we had a chance to play complimentary football against a good football team. Because you know about it. Like I told him before the game, when I was at with Coach Smart, told me like we will not be hunted, and it just kept playing me. And I told him that before the game, we will not be hunted. Like, we do the hunting. I'm not walking out here scared. My entire life, I never went into a football game nervous or worrying about what would happen. We're just going to play to go have fun and just relax, let it all loose, enjoy each other, enjoy the chance that God gave you the opportunity to go out there and just be able to play the game of football today.
Mendoza seemed to be uncomfortable all day. Get 2 early picks. You guys forced. The defensive line was in his face. You guys were blitzing with your secondary as well. How good do you feel about that group playing this well today?
We played okay. We didn't play that well. There's a lot left on the field. Thought they did okay. We could get better. Yeah, I'm just not going to say we did okay. Go watch the tape. I'm just happy that we had one more point than them. But we did okay, but I'm very thankful for the blitzing and them being able to get to the quarterback. That's important. I think we left a few out there that we should have got, but Mendoza, sorry to disrespect his name, he's very crafty, and he's got a strong arm. He had a quick trigger finger, so we knew we had to switch the pitcher up a lot for him. Giving him a different pitcher will make him not be able to take this first read because he may have his trigger finger's quick. So.
Coach, you talked last about playing a complete football game, because it kind of come out slow the last couple weeks. What was kind of the message going into this game to get the sense of urgency going quickly and build up that lead so that you guys wouldn't have to come from behind again?
Just hunt. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. I think we still did it. We had 2 field goals early on where that could have been touchdowns because of snap ball and the jump off sides. So we still got a long way to go. We're still building the program. We're still in the beginning stages of it. And I think a lot of people forget about that and understanding. It's my first year with these guys, first year understanding, and those things are what causes you to lose. So we still got to get rid of those little pieces that, we got to learn how not to lose, because we almost gave the game back. When we had the game clearly could be for us, we almost gave it back, and that's why I'm excited that I'm at this university because we're going to continue to push and be able to build. I want to win. I want to win the right way. I don't like 7, 8 flags. That's not good football. That comes back to get you. And unfortunately we got lucky today and we had one more point than them though. We don't just want to be average. 7's still average. We want to make sure that we get above that. And I want to win a national championship. I don't get into this to have 7 games and then you be like, well, they won more than they did last year. I want more than that. Life is not about just becoming average and then being okay, because that's complacent. And when kids start to hear that and they listen to that, then we become complacent and then we end up losing, which is why we're 7-3 and not 9-1.
When did you sort of let Davian know he was going to be the guy sort of replacing Jaden, and when did you decide during the week that it was?
I've been working him out the last 3 weeks. I just ain't put him in. He got in a little bit last week against Boston College, a couple reps. But then when Bellamy was out, I had another kid going in. Honestly, he wasn't going to start. There was another kid going to start. I won't say his name, but he was late yesterday coming in when did we travel here? Thursday? Yeah. Coming in Thursday morning, we had a meeting at 6:30. Everybody had to be in the building. He didn't get there at 6:54, so his butt ain't start, didn't even play. They're not doing that. We had 2 other DBs that didn't start. We had 3 guys that were supposed to start that didn't start. One, he was late. Another one just was loafing in practice 2 days in a row. And then one guy thought that he could talk back to the coach. So we had 3 guys that didn't start on the defensive side in the secondary. And it was just like, no, that's what's going to happen. We're building the program. This is the way it's going to get done. If you don't like it, I'll let you later, fam. The cool thing about it, there's a portal, and then those other schools will give you probably more money and things like that. And if that's what you're looking to go to, then you got to do it. But doing it here with us, we're going to do it one way because I got to show you how to be a man. And that's what we're telling their parents that we're going to do. And I want to continuously show them that and treat them that the right way. So that kid, what do they call him? Wooly Pitt. What's his name? Wally Pitt? Yeah. Now look at that. Davian Carter came in and all of a sudden, now he's going to be a superstar. Thanks, man. Appreciate y'all.
Gotta love a lot of that out of that press conference. And the thing that sticks out to me was the last stuff there about, hey, look, you're going to get disciplined. We're not just going to let you skate, about holding people accountable and holding players accountable. So, I like that. That's the stuff that builds strong foundations for a culture and for teamwork. So I thought that was interesting. We talked about protecting the football, establishing the run game. We talked about Cal being 11th best run defense in the country, only allowing an average of 100 yards per game, right on the nose actually, and to come out of there with what did they come out of there with? 148. So it's really good. It's really good. Kyle McCord, 323. 9 out of the 10 games he started in an orange uniform have been over 300. He passed Nassib on the completions for a season. Just the team's balling. I mean, the team is balling. I mean, they're doing a fantastic job. Established the run. They did everything they were supposed to do. They did not start slow, Joe, which I think was the biggest thing. I know the coach wants to say shooting themselves in the foot. I don't consider going down and getting 2 field goals necessarily shooting themselves in the foot. I know there was an offside or a false start at one point during that. But with that said, you're going down scoring points and your defense is holding. You get 2 interceptions. And Davian Kerr, what's that?
Davian Kerr's was amazing.
Davian Kerr's catch was like, I didn't even know what a Davian Kerr was till just now. So, it's just one of those things. It's like, that's, you got 2 guys ahead of him including Bellamy, right? I mean, and you got a couple guys ahead of him that talking back to the coach or whatever the case, showing up late to a meeting, ain't starting. This dude gets the spot and goes out and proves himself. That's the shit I like seeing. Like, you go out, you get that opportunity, seize the moment. And they talk about next man up type stuff, right? It's like the stuff that Sean Tucker did. He was 4-string running back. That's what I like to see. Protecting the football. Mendoza only had 4 interceptions coming into this game. Syracuse accounts for 33% of his interceptions for the year right now. And it was Clarence Lewis, I believe, that had a third right in his fingertips, man, and it just got past him. So they did a fantastic job. And that was the other thing. The pass protection issues was, we wanted to see pressure. We wanted to see this. We know this guy is in. Coach mentioned it. I mean, he's got a quick trigger finger. He's accurate. He's a really good quarterback. He's a big guy. He's elusive, not necessarily a runner, but he's very elusive. He can make things happen with his feet. And they got after him, man. He was rattled. And towards the end of that game, it was even more rattled. He didn't make any more mistakes with the ball, but he did get beat up a little bit. And I'll just add this. The penalty on Barron, I love when they slow these things down in replay, the rough and the passer. They slow these things down in replay so much that you're like, okay, well, yeah, I guess it looked like it. And you go back and watch it in real time. It's just a bang bang play.
Yeah,
it's so dumb. It's like,
yeah.
He
didn't wrap up. He didn't even go down and land on him. He didn't hit him in the head.
No. He just went after him. I mean, quarterbacks hold the ball too. Talk about protecting the quarterback. You protect him when he can't be protecting himself. But, that was a bang bang play and a terrible call, in my opinion. But my point is that They exploited the pass protection. They did establish a run game. LeQuint did a fantastic job, over 100 yards, and they protected the ball. +2 in the turnover margin against a team that was like +16 for the year is awesome. So, really proud of them. And going out west and doing this, proud of that team. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, the way that they started early, the way that I don't know. You just see how we come back and we fix stuff, right? Like all of a sudden we have a kicker now.
It's nice, ain't it?
Kennedy, don't have any kicking issues, right? Our offensive line. I thought we had some interesting, different little looks and plays that allowed McCord to get the ball out fast and gave our offensive line confidence early. And again, like I spoke about in the pregame, I felt like our defense matched up. Well, first, I didn't think that Cal's secondary has seen a lot of quarterbacks like McCord. I know Cam Ward. Other than that, there hasn't really been a lot, and they've been able to, kind of stop that run. But as we become, more 50-50, more balanced on offense, that's tough to deal with. And you can tell that obviously, Cal, they have a tough time when they have to figure out, is it going to be a pass or a run? And as far as our defense, I feel like I said it, I felt like our defense was going to match up better than their offense because they like to pass, right? So it gave us, gave our secondary a chance to shine. It gave us a chance to put Fadil Diggs back in his proper position and maybe, get a 4-down lineman, get some blitzes. And, a lot of that stuff was coverage stuff. I mean, we had four sacks and a bunch of hurries, and a lot of that was coverage. A lot of that was more man-on-man coverage. Coach has talked about Davion Kerr and that type of stuff. It just gets me excited for the future. Talked about how he's a former receiver that's got great ball skills, and you could tell on that play. And a lot of times on that play, corner doesn't even look back to look and find the ball.
That was a wide receiver catch.
Oh, yeah. And that's really where it comes in. As a corner, if you can turn around, and because you're not afraid to turn around, find the ball, make a play, that right there, I mean, that's some stuff you can ask somebody to do, but you can't teach them. A lot of times that's when players are just playing the body, hoping they don't catch it. And a lot of times they'll run into them, get a pass interference, and that was not the case. So just heads up, kudos to our secondary. I know they went down and they scored a bunch in the second half, but it was, kind of a bend, not break. There was only really one real big explosive play. So
it's nice when you pad a lead and those things happen and you have that cushion to where, okay, well, let's get our heads back in this. We're still winning by 2. We're still winning by 16 points. I mean, the score didn't do it necessarily justice, the final score.
No.
I mean, it's just getting out to a quick start and punching them in the mouth with a couple turnovers. Just one would have been great. But being able to do that with 2 yesterday set the pace for this thing early, and it put them back on their heels, and they never really recovered. They ended up scoring some points and stuff, but they never really recovered. And Syracuse had an extremely long drive towards the end of that game too, where they were just eating clock. Yeah. So again, one of the best in the country at doing that, and they go out and do it out west. And Syracuse is 2. And if you'd have told me Syracuse is going to go out west and they're going to be 2-0 out of it, I mean, I'd have told you that you got a big dump in your pants. So they did it though, man. One really a prime time game. Just impressive, man. And to what Coach is talking about with the discipline stuff, there's a portal. You don't want to play by our rules. Well, you can go somewhere else. Maybe you make some more money, but you know what? There's a portal. I can find another guy. So if you ain't gonna be part of the team and play the team and do what you're told, then that's where we're gonna go. That's what we're gonna do. And it takes a lot. I think it sends a message. Like message. That's like what Boeheim used to do. Like that's what I told you. This is the closest thing we're gonna get to Boeheim. And it just happens to be the football coach, which is amazing because I love it. Yeah. He has great pressers, dude. He does.
Oh yeah. Did you see what he said at the end of the game?
Yes. Yeah, he got right in the camera too. Boy, he was happy.
Yeah, he was happy. He gets washed. Winners get washed, baby.
Yeah, that's. Look. They gave him the guys gave him some Old Spice soap too. So, which is look, there's so much to be happy for and to be positive about going forward when your head coach was the number one recruiter in the country, and you see what he's building, and you see what they how he's a man of his word, how he's not just blowing smoke up anybody's ass. He's going out there and he's putting his money where his mouth is when it comes to coaching. And for a first-year head coach to be doing what he's doing right now, I think is just, we're so blessed to be able to, we got so lucky with Fran Brown. It's not even funny.
I love it. And the thing is like the way that he comes across, you can just tell from the first introductory presser to when he sits there and he has random conversations with the guys from, all ACC, right? EJ Manuel and those guys, on the ACC network, all those guys love him. All those guys are like, I'd play for him. I mean, he walks in the room and demands respect. He goes on the radio shows, and it's almost like, even the pressers, it's like he gets talked to a little bit differently. There's some questions that some people are just don't ask, right? That they maybe weren't afraid to ask maybe some past coaches. And that's on both sides of the sports. But it's a situation where you just see it, and that's what this whole season was about. The whole season was basically, I've never been a head coach. Let's bring some guys in. Let's figure it out. But they needed some type of optimistic season to be able to push them through so he could go back on his recruiting trail and all the coaches could go back and they can continue to see, look what happened. Just the first year, I got 3 months to build my team, and look what we did.
Yeah.
And that's even like what we spoke about in the preseason. An 8-4 season would do that. It's easy to look back now and look at the BC and Stanford game and say, what coulda, shoulda, woulda going into UConn next week.
Stanford, by the way, they're awesome. They're awesome again. They're awesome again.
Look, huh?
They're awesome again. They beat Syracuse and they beat Louisville.
That was the one thing. I remember we spoke when we spoke last time.
I don't think we said it on the air though. So go ahead, because I was watching that game tight. That and the Boston College game. I don't think we said it on the air.
Yeah. So if we didn't say it, it was one of those things where there's a stat out there where going into this week, no football team that has beaten Syracuse
had won a game
that we had lost to had won another game after they beat us.
And it was Stanford that broke it.
And it was Stanford that broke it against Louisville at home.
With all 5 of their fans there.
With all 500. No, they yesterday was actually one of those things where I said, okay, it made me feel a little bit better because it wasn't just, Stanford did beat Louisville, but I mean, Pittsburgh was right there with Clemson with their backup quarterback. If Klubnik doesn't go and run a 50-yard run
Boston
with a
College
minute and 15, Boston College was right there with SMU. I mean, some of these teams that beat Syracuse, they almost put a whirlwind into the ACC and going into the title game. And to be perfectly honest with you, we're in a position, as long as we don't sleep on UConn, to possibly still have a say in who goes to that game as well.
Yeah. Final point about Fran, and then we're going to get into fan feedback. He's delivering what he sold. Like, he's selling something, and you love it. He's got this pitch that was amazing. It gave us all chills. It gave us all motivation. We wanted to run through walls. We love the dude. But after the sale, the product that you got is what you were sold. And that's the bottom line. I mean, he's delivering. And to your point, when you're talking about only a few months to put this team together, I mean, he's been working on next year.
Yeah, he already has, right?
And so and then we're not even to the portal yet. Is my point. Like, we got to pull a quarterback from the portal. What are we going to get?
Well, I mean, he seemed like, albeit he had a relationship. That seems like. There's plenty of them out there, but it seems like he made a good choice, right? This past year for this year, and that's going to be up to the coaches. But I mean, if it comes down to recruiting and picking, evaluating players and talent to figure out what's best for what they want to build, that's like the least of my worries when it comes to this team. So it's just, in hindsight, you look at it and it's sometimes you look back and you're like, man, we should have been tougher, or man, we should have. Because, again, we always talked about Dino being, and I hate bringing it up all the time and everything, but, when you look back, it was almost like Dino sometimes was making excuses, and then because we liked him so much, we wanted to make excuses with him. Fran doesn't make excuses, and he expects to go out there and win the day, win every day, take it day by day. And, if he's going to take the accountability, and he's not going to make excuses. He's just going to say, this is what happened, and it's up to me to go make sure that I make it better. It's not a situation where we're waiting for a 3 or 4 year cake to bake.
7. That cake baked for 7 years.
Basically what I'm saying is like every time he talked about, brought up a movie quote or talked about baking a cake, that's essentially him making an excuse for, well, this is my first year. This is my this, right? Fran, he don't care. He doesn't want. This is my first year coaching and being a head coach, and he doesn't care. He doesn't make excuses. He will admit when another coach outcoached him. He will admit when he made a mistake, whether it was somebody else's or not. He will hold on to it as his, and he'll take it into the next day and try to fix it. And that's what I like most about him.
All right, it's time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
For the second time today, it's time to hear from you, this time on the 33-25 win over Cal for Syracuse football. And look, maybe it's the time of the day. I already told you I forgot Facebook, so Facebook's not. We got nothing. But I do have some from Twitter, the usual suspects, who we all love hearing from all the time. And let's go over them, shall we? Let's see. Let's try to make this quick. There's no reason to gloat, okay? I was wrong, by the way. I was going to save this, but I was wrong. So happy to be wrong once in a while. And, I gave one up to Joe, but I took one for the team. I took one for the team and putting some positive energy out there to have Syracuse prove me wrong. And I'm just so thankful that I did that, because you're welcome. Between me and Joe Pass, you're welcome. So, all right. At Oil Cuse, I knew we'd win, LOL. It looks like our left tackle position finally was solidified, and it showed. The refs certainly had questionable calls like that roughing the passer and a few non-holding calls on Diggs. Too many penalties on us. Too many drop passes. Joe is nasty AF. Yeah, look, we talked about this. Funny, we talked about the roughing the passer call. It was BS. All in all, I didn't think the officials were terrible. I think Syracuse definitely made some poor. They made some poor penalties. They had some things go against them that I guess should have, and it's just unfortunate. That stuff's got to get cleaned up. They clean that stuff up, man, and they can, they could be awesome. They're awesome now. Hey, real quick, I wanted to mention, because I was just looking at this. The crowd at Cal, did you expect a bigger crowd there? Because I did.
No.
You didn't? Okay, because they were kind of like that last year, right? Their crowd sucked, huh?
Yeah, they're kind of a long ways away from the glory days,
Yeah, I get it,
but a long time since Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, it's true, but I don't know. It's like between them and Stanford, they have the saddest crowds in the ACC. At Cal, we know why Stanford does. Like, Cal's not bad, and they're both in the same area, right? So,
who might be worse than us? I don't know if they're worse than us.
Yes, they absolutely are. I would have to say yes. I don't think our crowds are bad. Our crowds haven't been bad for football this year. There was one questionable one. It was mostly the students that I bagged on for that.
Well, they're saying that there was 33,993 people there.
Yeah, well, we know how that goes. That's how many tickets were sold, quote unquote. Anyways, at Saltine Warrior, thanks for the money line at Vegas. Big bounce back. Now let's end the year strong. Showering. Yes, the shower. The bounce back, Joe. It's a good point. being able to come back from Pitt. I mean, I know we've been going every other game here, right? Hope that's not a pattern. But you bounce back from Pitt with a big win over Virginia Tech. You lose a close one in Boston College, and then you go back out west and have to do it again, and you do it against Cal. I mean, we're not used to that. So,
no.
Impressive. At Theo Q, go ahead. You got something to say?
It bodes well for in the future when we have to go out there. Most likely, we're going to have to take a trip out there once a year. Most likely,
yeah.
So.
They better get used to it. I mean, it sucks. I don't know what that jet ride is from Syracuse. What do you think? 6.5, 7 hours, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
It's a hike. Even flying, it's a hike. So at Theo Cuse has found a kicker. This is a great point. The win never seemed in doubt. Jacquez Meeks was awesome. He put it in quotes. Yeah, they called him Jacquez Meeks.
No, the CW. Hey, look, yeah. they're still trying to figure it out, man.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure it out. Like, you have all the resources in the world. Come on, do some homework too. Announcing not great. What a bounce back, 4-4 on 4th down tries and 2 interceptions were incredible. Total team win. Yeah, how about that? 4-4 on the fourth down tries. That's awesome. There was a point where I was like, just go for it, and they didn't. They didn't end up going for it, but I was like, go ahead. Like, at this point, just do it. I have a whole lot of confidence in the play calling and abilities of the players when they're put in a position to have to go for it in certain spots of the field. And, having a good kicker now puts a little tiny wrinkle in that, and to the effect that, you might see less of it, like the beginning of the game when we have 2 field goals go through. And Kennedy, what was he? 4 for 4, right? Okay.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for that comment of, well, we started good, but we got to finish better. We only had a field goal in the third and the fourth quarter, respectively.
It's if you win or lose, you could always look at one if the game wasn't a full game. But from my perspective, like, it's about starting fast. It's about starting fast and getting points on the board. It's so much easier to control a game when you have a lead to play with than have to play from behind. And the good thing is, and what we've gotten to see this year, which we're not used to, is this team has the ability to play from behind and actually come back. They've done it, they've lost them that way, they won some that way, but they have the ability to do it. So, I mean, they're always in it, I feel like. Other than the Pitt game, they've always been in it.
Well, that's, again, those type of games, 3 pick sixes, those are like anomaly games, right? Like, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, five interceptions altogether, too, which is, another, terrible stat. But to your point, yeah, 3 pick sixes. It's just, and coach left them in there and said, hey, man, figure it out, grind it out, finish the game.
Did you also hear that comment when they said something about Trevor Payne, when they were talking about Trevor Payne, you getting catches or so many receptions, and they said something about he had 10 out west earlier this year against Stanford.
Yes,
so he must be really good playing out west. And I'm like, we played Stanford at home, dummy.
They were talking about UNLV.
See, that's God. See, I like the
terrible.
guy.
They're terrible.
I like the sideline interviewer. I like that guy because he was like chasing.
Oh, the one that chased Coach at the end of the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was chasing him down to get an interview, but
right.
and dude, just class act for I know Fran Brown's defensive backs holds a special but to him to go down and because that's an NFL corner, he said nothing but respectful things. That kid, he's a great kid. I mean, having 7 interceptions on the year just as an individual, he's beaten some teams.
He almost had another one too. He damn sure
did. He damn sure did. But yeah, dude, CW, you guys got to do better. I mean, I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
it's like
because we know you're listening. So
I'm just saying, look,
right.
At one point it was just like all they had to worry about was like Supernatural and Smallville now they're actually like doing college sports and stuff, and they got to make sure they get the right guys in there. It's 2 weeks in a row where it's like, come on, man.
It's 2 weeks in a row, but they've been bad every time we've had them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same guys. So, anyway.
I'm going to dip deeper into that pool.
Yeah, like we can get some students in there and get some practice and end up with something better than that.
Well, I don't know. That halftime show's pretty brutal. Too.
the basketball one?
It's the CW regardless. I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, yeah. Well, the students have been doing the basketball halftime shows, which is, it's good for the kids to get out there and do that, but, they're better than the CW guys, is my point. Let's see. At Level Up Luke, the kind of game we need to win. We still let them back in it, but it's good to see us put them away. 5th place in the ACC. Yeah. Where were we projected, by the way? Not great, right? 12th, I think, or something like that. But, Kyle McCord is probably going to break the... What is this? What is the single season passing record for yards? I would have. I mean, we could look it up real quick. But anyways, he's got a shot to do that next week, this week against UConn. So he's still hitting at 64%. You take away the 5 interceptions that will take. Well, we're not going to take anything away. His interception to touchdown ratio is still pretty good, 12-24. That's not bad.
Right.
I mean, it could be better, but it's not bad. So pushing 3,500 yards. I mean, it's good. Let's see. Yes, the kind of game we need to win. Yes, that is the kind of game we need to win because it would have been a morale diffuser had they lost that game. But very impressed, resilient, solid team to bounce back twice after some pretty disappointing losses.
Let me just throw this out there. If he throws for more than 390 more yards, then Kyle McCord will be 10th overall in passing for Syracuse career.
For career?
Career, just to throw that out there. Yeah.
Oh,
right now,
my goodness.
Tommy DeVito is 10th with 3,866. So
he's probably going to get that. He'll probably land 10th place in one year. Give me some of those in that top 10.
Eric Dungy with
Where's
a career 9,340.
Okay.
Ryan Nassib 9,190. Marvin Graves 8,466. Donovan McNabb 8,389.
So
and then,
Ryan Nassib threw for more yards than Donovan McNabb liked to run the ball.
Well, they ran the ball. They ran the option and stuff like that. And then obviously from Don McPherson's 5th, and there's almost what's that? 2,500 yards throwing because then you go into the passing of it, and then you're talking Garrett Schrader, Perry Patterson, and RJ Anderson, Troy Nunes.
It's a who's of Syracuse quarterbacks. So, I mean, what Kyle McCord's done in 1 year is like amazing.
No,
totally
if he were
impressive.
to start 3 years here, then he'd blow out every single.
Yeah, he'd be at the top of that. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. At Jay Prosner, really liked the fight. Very impressed with the D. Yeah, thought that this was the defense's best game, I think, this year. Between this and, there was a couple pretty good performances by the D, but I just love this one because of the way they started the game. When they bring the heat, you get results weird. All right, I'm going to stop there. We've been waiting for that. We talked about it in the pregame about how they were kind of vulnerable in that department, how many times Mendoza's been sacked this year. And I'm just glad to see Syracuse roll the dice on some of it and actually have it, get positive outcome from it. So I want to see more of it. Plain and simple. You haven't seen a ton of pressure from the defense this year. Not like we saw yesterday, and it worked. But again, it's kind of a matchup thing, right, Joe? I mean, it could bite you right in the ass too. So,
yeah.
And I know that Cal, they was 166 yards rushing, which was one of those runs with like a 75-yard run.
Yeah.
You take that out of it, right? And Syracuse, all in all, did pretty good against the run. The defense did pretty good against the run. I know if some butts were candy and nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas, but a 75-yard rush like that is an anomaly. Just kind of, he saw a hole, man. He was gone. That was it, untouched. So,
yeah, I will tell you too. less than 300 yards and 2 touchdowns away from those 2 records.
Okay, so
Ryan Nassib owns both of them.
Right.
3,749 yards for the single season record, and 26 touchdowns for the single season.
Okay.
Ryan Nassib owns both of them.
All right. Well, that's good. There, that one touchdown that came back yesterday was a killer. Gosh. Meeks, was it Meeks? I'm almost positive it was. And by the way, he looked like he was hurt. I don't think he looked like to me like he got knocked out.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, I think the helmet went right into the ground, and obviously the player, tackled him, the weight going on it. So
yeah, and then they thought he was playing around, and they're over there pumping his chest like they're. I don't know. That could have been disastrous. You should probably not push on people's. Yeah, you should probably not push on people's chests like that, screwing around or not. But when he was laying there with his arms up, I'm like, oh shit, that does not look good.
Yeah, no.
And then they're over there messing with him. I'm like, oh, they're just playing around. And then, no, they weren't. He was not. That was not playing around. Anyways, you should be very careful with that. I'm going to keep going with this comment because we didn't get through it. Glad the offense got going early, productive, but they really should have put up more points. 4 field goals. Weird that guy even. Where'd that guy even come from? Yeah, I mean, what was Kennedy? Was he a walk-on? You have no idea either.
No.
I don't know, but thankfully, we saw a little bit of Kennedy after Denenberg struggled a little bit. We saw him hit a field goal, and then he kind of had a couple moments, and then all of a sudden, he's the man. He had a 43-yarder yesterday. I mean, and they were all pretty true. I mean, one was a little close, but they were all pretty good. And
we were kicking field goals that we wouldn't even have tried.
That's my point. Yeah, that was the point I was making about going forward on 4th down. This kind of limits that because of now we have a kicker all of a sudden, right? So, anyways.
Yeah, we were still 4-4. 4 out of 4 doing that yesterday, though, too.
Right.
Going forward, 4th down and field goals.
Right. 4-4 for field goals, 4-4 for 4th downs. Yeah, it's crazy.
44.
That's right. At Baptized by Fire, I woke up this morning and it was 44 degrees here. I almost shit myself, by the way. At Baptized by Fire 7, O-line played very good. D-line got after it all. This is November football. That is a take right there. This is November. This is the November football now. Yes. Let's see. What's Captain Pat talking about? It's going to be awesome when we smoke UConn and then pound Miami.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't look past that game.
No, the UConn game. Didn't they beat us in like 2018 or 2016 or something like that? It was the year before we started this show. It was the year that the Whose House started. The Whose House chant started after the Virginia Tech win. I'm almost positive it was 2015, 2016, something like that.
Do not remember.
So this show started the basketball season after Coach Babers' first football season. It was that year that UConn lost. I'm almost positive. You can go look it up. Go do it. At No Blanchard 44, best game from start to finish. No special team errors besides the kick out of bounds, which was a heads-up play by the returner. Yes. That kind of pissed me off a little bit. It was so good. So I was like, gosh, damn it. What the hell is that? It was a brilliant play. You can't be mad at it.
Yeah, and that was the corner, number 3 there.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
The thing is there's a lot of people that don't even understand that rule, right? So to be that heady,
yeah.
I mean, that's even more. That's just one other thing where it's like, all right, that guy's definitely gonna be playing on Sundays.
Absolutely. He goes on. Defense played well. Offense marched down the field at will. We started to let them come back, but I won't complain. Let's beat UConn and get 8 W's. Yeah, I mean, they kind of came back, but again, man. I mean, we were up by 16 with 3 minutes left in the game or less than that. I mean, I wasn't worried about it. They're gonna give them a little bit of space. They're gonna that's a lot of things to happen. I mean, had they
Right.
got the onside kick, okay, you can look back on that and be like, well, that sucked, right? Even to give them a shot. But I really wasn't that worried about it. That's 3 onside kicks to finish 2 games, by the way, the past two weeks. So at Saltine Warrior 4, how about Jackson Kennedy, by the way? Could have used him versus Stanford earlier in the year. Yeah, absolutely. This here, Joey Weinberg, he was at the game, gave us a little taste of the first Jackson Meeks touchdown there when he got in and got hit right when he got to the goal line. It looked like an ugly hit, but he got right up.
Yeah.
Dominated despite the score. I totally agree with that. And that's kind of my point to everybody that says, well, we let him back in. I don't think we let him back in. I just think it was, we had the ability to play a little bit different on defense to see if we could hold them, right? I mean, it's just kind of how it goes. I wouldn't call it garbage points, but it was pretty damn close.
Yeah, and also the ability to be able to hold on at the time of possession. I mean, it's pretty much 2/3 of the game we had the ball.
Yeah, it's impressive too, which they've done a tremendous job all year. He goes on, all around good football from every position group. I'm so happy. We're beating Miami if we keep this up. Okay. Let me get one more here. At Mike S 74855-165. Great. I don't know. Who puts their social security number on their handle for
Mike
Twitter?
S.
Great road win. Fran going for it twice on 4th was ballsy. It was 4 times.
Yeah.
Converted all 4. He says converted both times. Well, he converted all 4 times. That's extra ballsy then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly won the game. That's a good point. You could go back to those. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but how many points they got off of those drives when going forward on 4th down? Do you know off the top of your head? Any idea?
Mm-mm. No, but I do know that they scored on every possession in the first half, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and they definitely went for it on 4th down in the first half, at least once that I remember. Mm-hmm. Kicking game was 180-degree change from early season. Happy for the kids. They're a good team. Officials were horrendous. I thought there was the one bad call with the officials, and then there was the covered up receiver thing, which is, again, we've talked about this, right? Do you remember that call, Joe?
Yep.
We've talked about this. I thought that, first of all, the officials decide when to tell the guys and when not to tell the guys. Like, either don't tell them or tell them. So you know what I'm saying? Like,
sometimes there's confusion in communication as well.
I know, but other than the Justin Barron roughing the passer was total BS. The covering up the receiver on that other one, I guess I give it to him. Whatever. Just it's an awareness thing. You just got to be careful. That's all.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, CW broadcasters were worse. Yes, they were worse than the officials, for real. Definitely, totally agree with that. I'm glad that we all acknowledge that the CW broadcasters are dog shit. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
They're messing up names. They're messing up just everything.
It's like throwing me and you in the booth and just handing us a freaking, and no offense to you, but me, I mean, I butcher names all the time. But Jack has Meeks or whatever. What the hell?
Call them Marcellus Barnes first because they shared the same number. So, and then he had to, fix that. So,
yeah.
I mean, yesterday it was just basically, I don't know if it was the same guys. I feel like it wasn't. I feel like there was actually a decent guy. It was just, to me, it was like the familiarity was just not there. And like the guys on the ACC network and all that, I mean, they follow that our whole conference. So they know like the schedules, where people played, all that stuff, names, and obviously CW. They just show up and they study for about a half hour before they go out there and just wish them the best. So yesterday, at least yesterday, it was just messing up like teams they played and when and like certain names and stuff. But
that was their 3rd Syracuse game, though. Those two.
The week before, they couldn't do math for a whole half. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of where I'm at, right?
Right.
Like, and again, if you're going to do sports, CW, just invest money into people that are going to know what they're talking about. Otherwise, go back to just running Supernatural reruns, and we won't talk about you anymore.
Yeah, you're talking about the CW as a broadcast company.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, reruns of Beverly Hills 90210 and Saved by the Bell.
Like I said, it's like Supernatural, Smallville, all those guys, right? Like, it's just that's what they were, like.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to do sports, and I don't know what they're doing.
All right, I think that's going to do it for us. That was pretty efficient for what it was. So
yeah, I don't have anything on Facebook, so
yeah, thank God. I'm just kidding. I'll get back to the Facebook thing. I really wasn't punishing Facebook. That wasn't on purpose at all. It's a total accident. Especially after the football game, there's a lot of tweeting going on, and I was going to grab a bite to eat, so I got a
consequences of busy schedules and like being behind because nobody could start the football game on time because we decided to go on 2 overtimes against the Penguins.
Yeah, the Penguins.
Not talking about hockey either.
They're tough. The Youngstown State Penguins are tough, dude.
Hey, look, I'll tell you what though, they do got some ballers. They got a couple guys that impressed me, and I do believe that they're going to give a hell of a showing in the Horizon League this year. So
okay, fair.
All right, Oakland and Cleveland State, watch out.
Joe's being funny today. This is rare. I'm very impressed. All right, that is going to do it for us, folks. Look, we appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thanks to all of you in the Spaces. We will be back here next week for another Spaces after the UConn game. But look for us at some point this week, sometime maybe, to talk about UConn and how exciting that game might be. We'll talk to you later. For Joe and Sean, we're out.
Peace. They suck.